Yo, hello, I'm back. I'm finally making a video again. I played through Act 1 of Nod-Krai's Archon quest and really liked it a lot, so I want to finish making this video and then play Act 2 immediately and then make a video on Act 2. I really enjoyed this Archon quest. I think one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much is because of the OST for Nod-Krai throughout the various cities and areas that we go through, which really helped immerse me into the experience and whatnot. For some reason, the Nod-Krai OSTs, they seem to strike a chord in me that feels very nostalgic and reminiscent of OG Genshin, if that makes sense. And Genshin OST is always good, like Natlan is good, Fontaine is good and stuff. But especially compared to Natlan, I feel like Nod-Krai the OST just sort of goes on another level here. Really helped immerse me into the whole Archon quest. So just shout out to the OST, I have some playing in the background of this video. But really looking forward to even more of the OST from Nod-Krai. So one of the themes that I noticed in Nod-Krai Act 1 is that we seem to be really hammering down the idea of where is home for someone, right? There are a few examples of this with the different characters. The travelers trying to find their spaceship, trying to find their sibling. We have Inetha's storyline that kind of gets wrapped up with Inetha trying to find back home for her. That was a driving point in the previous Archon quest with Inetha trying to figure out where is home for her. And her reunion with Aino is really endearing, it's really sweet. Not just because Aino has a sweet tooth and eats a lot when Inetha's not watching her, but just like the fact that Aino is someone who's like so smart, making all of these machines and weaponry and inventions, tech, right? She's the tech girl that you go to in Nod-Krai. And yet, despite her being so smart, she's still needs like a guardian in Inetha, who serves as like her guardian figure. There's also Lauma's case that comes up. There's Columbina's case that comes up, right? Lots of themes in Nod-Krai about where is home. So that's something I'm keeping in mind as I play more of the Archon quest, and just about these characters in general. What does home mean to someone? Something else that I've been really looking forward to in Genshin storytelling is that when they first introduced Nod-Krai in the developers' discussion, they said that they want Nod-Krai to be a story that sort of ties a lot of loose ends together, because Teyvat Archon quests especially have had a lot of loose ends and random things just not going anywhere, and random lore that never gets brought up and no one really cares about it in the world itself. Right? The whole stuff about Descenders and the Abyss Order, even the Sinners of Conria. Really like stuff that really should affect everyone's lives in Teyvat, but no one really says anything. So I'm happy to see that Nod-Krai, we actually have people acknowledging and recognizing these things that have happened so many years ago. You have the Three Moon Sisters, the history behind that, the birth of Columbina, Lauma actually talking about Descenders and recognizing Traveler as a Descender, Traveler telling people that, hey, I'm not from this world, I'm a Descender, I'm trying to find my spaceship, right? Everyone's acknowledging, or at least not everyone, but like more and more people are acknowledging the greater stuff that's happening, not just in their own nation, Nod-Krai, but also like the world as a whole. Something else I've noticed in this Archon quest is that the way that they introduce characters seems to be following a similar pattern, where we get introduced to a new character, we get some little snippets of what kind of person they are, traits that are unique to them. Someone like Flynn's, who's very well-mannered, calm, but then seems very reserved and jokes about seeing people by graveyards, as if that's a normal thing for him, which it is. We get introduced to Lauma, who's able to talk to animals. I think that's like the first canonically first instance of a person able to communicate directly with animals. But then, there are aspects of that make it harder for her to live day to day because she hears so many voices going on in her head. It's hard to find some downtime. We get introduced to the 7th Harbinger, Sandrone, Marionette. How, it seems that she finds a lot of things boring. She finds her job boring and wants to do the stuff that she actually wants to do. Tells the Traveler to, hey, don't mess with us, but then is still open and kind of has like a tsundere personality to her, right? They were like introducing these little snippets, giving them to us quickly, like not really dragging the plot along, which I appreciate, and then showing how they may be advancing the plot forward. We'll see Flynn's later in Act 2, but Lauma's one of the big driving points of Act 1, and Sandrone as well towards the end. I think, at least for me, it's effective in making me engage and invested into the different characters and how they may be affecting the overall world, the overall city going forward. Like one of the main problem with her clan, with the Frostmoon Scion clan, is that they just blindly seem to follow the moon goddess without any sort of thinking for themselves, like not really questioning why things may not be happening, and also like kind of forcing gods to become their moon goddess so that they can have a god, even if said god may be reluctant or maybe feeling too obligated to help them. You know, but then the thing is that people, some people need to be led, right? Some people need a leader to guide them, and I think Lauma is a good example of someone who's struggling to figure out the balance here, because even though she knows that, hey, the moon goddess isn't really active anymore, she still wants people, she still understands that it seems okay to have a placebo effect where, you know, maybe if they think that there's a god out there helping them, that it makes their lives better, right? When one of the kids is sick, Lauma says, hey, go outside and let me, you know, do my thing, and she helps the kid by using some of her powers, which puts her at a struggle because it's hard to keep on using her power just for that stuff. You know, and eventually, after some guidance from the traveler about, hey, you know, for a family, would you keep secrets from them, or would you keep a lie? You know, I think it is very like, I can understand both sides. Keeping a white lie can be the most honorable thing sometimes, but at the end of this Act 1, she decides that, hey, I want my people to know the whole truth because I want everyone to think for themselves, and I think that's very fair. You know, Lauma's character arc in this act was very engaging for me. I'm happy. I was rooting for her the entire time. I want to talk about Columbina right now, Damselette, who, you know, she, when we first get introduced to her, she's singing, and she's doing her lullaby, which seems to have become her signature lullaby, likely related to the whole Song of the Welkin Moon. You know, I find our interactions with Columbina to be super interesting too, because Columbina, it's kind of like refreshing, because if we think of her as like the god that is worshipped by the nation, then it's kind of refreshing because Columbina herself, she's like, dang, I really don't think these people know what they're doing, or why are they even worshipping me? I don't want to be worshipped by them. I don't want to be their god. So there's that like personal conflict where even though she doesn't feel like she wants to be, she does feel some kind of obligation to be, because when she was born 500 years ago, it's like the people just decided, hey, be our god. And I guess just like because of her own, at her core, she felt like she couldn't deny that. And I think one of the most strongest quotes we've seen from Genshin is one of the questions that she asks. Hey, humans look to the gods when they're powerless, but then who do the gods look to when the gods themselves feel powerless? And I think that's a very interesting thing that we can explore more later on. It's like there's only so much a god can do, but then it's like, well, if they're a god, then how come you can't do the thing that people are treating you as for? So I think that's a very cool theme, and I'm interested to see more of that. We'll likely see like some kind of, you know, action scene in the future where Columbina opens her eyes and then her powers get activated, because she's definitely, you know, she's not the third harbinger for no reason, right? I think it's kind of sudden that she just left the Fatui all of a sudden, and she seems to just not want to go back. Her deal with the Tsaritsa has been completed, because when we first got introduced to her in the Fatui interlude trailer, she seemed like, oh, she was pretty happy to be there for the funeral for Signora. So like it didn't like really hint to us that Columbina seems to have been tired of being with Fatui. She says that she agrees with the Tsaritsa, like when the Tsaritsa says that freedom always comes with a price. And I find that interesting as well, because I kind of agree with that. I think that, yeah, and just like I wonder what the interactions with Venti would be. Perhaps that's one of the core reasons why the Tsaritsa hasn't talked to Venti in so long. She just completely disagrees with Venti's idea of freedom. Right? So anyways, yeah, Columbina's goal is to return to the moon where she was born, right? There's been a fake moon in Teyvat that seems to cycle, and there's an actual moon behind that fake sky, so Columbina wants to return there. Yeah, so anyways, one of the other plot points of this Archon quest is the whole Moon Marrow relic, which is a relic from the Frost Moon Scions where they're able to use to see the past, things that have happened in the past. So maybe that'll help the traveler figure out what happened to their spaceship, because the spaceship first ended up in Nod-Krai. That's where they landed. And the, apparently our sibling shows up and we work together with our sibling to try to find the moon marrow. But then someone else steals it at the end. And it's weird because, oh, why is the sibling being kind of like cooperative with us? But then there's something sus about them, and we find out at the end that they're not really the sibling. It's either some illusion or some imposter among us. Genshin collab. Oh, but I'm kind of happy that it was actually an imposter for the sibling, because if the sibling genuinely acted like that, that would have made no sense based on their previous interactions and behaviors with the traveler. I don't see any reason why the sibling would want to willingly cooperate like that, because it just seems like they've just been so distant, and it's like, it kind of like, if this stuff was actually canon, if their cooperation here was actually canon, it would definitely defeat the purpose of an eventual reunion, because there'd be a lack of tension, and it's like, it'd be awkward. So yeah, I'm glad it was an imposter. Yeah, eventually we have to infiltrate the Fatui's place after getting some intel from Nefer. And then just some quick points on there. Yeah, Nefer is someone who doesn't want to be biased towards any particular group. So that's why she feels pressured by Lauma when Lauma says, hey, you gotta help us you gotta help us get the relic back from the Fatui. And then we get Jahoda, who is Nefer's, I guess, apprentice. Like, Nefer is the boss and Jahoda is like a worker who... Jahoda seems to have some kind of imposter syndrome, but when push comes to shove, she will actually get the job done. So, and then she has a lot of like expressions I found pretty funny and I was entertained by throughout the whole infiltration of the Fatui. I mean, yeah, we eventually get the relic back because Sandrone doesn't really care about it, so she's just like, here, take it back, stop bothering me, let me do my other thing. It seems like that it was another Harbinger that's hinted at that commissioned the trader from the Scions to go get the moon marrow, so yeah, I guess we'll have to see who that turns out to be. The whole sibling being an imposter, trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. But yeah, we end the quest. Lauma goes back to Hissi Island and tells her people the truth. Awake completely just like off her shoulders now. It just feels better when you tell the truth for the first time. Yeah, just overall, those are my quick thoughts. I quite enjoyed the Archon quest. I had a lot of fun. I'm very invested into the story, so yeah, I want to do Act 2. Like, I've already like gotten spoiled on some things from Act 2, because I'm silly, but I'm excited to like go through it, and then I think I'll be making a more detailed review after Act 2, because I feel like, even though Act 1 I enjoyed as much as I did, I still want to get some more answers to my questions and stuff. Anyways, yeah, thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the Act 2 review for Nod-Krai.